Hello and welcome everyone. Again, another week of The Little Insight. This is episode 3. My name is Tobi, and this week we are going to look at the question, how to overcome anxiety. So, let's get started. So the real challenge with anxiety would be that it mostly remains unacknowledged, functioning in the background of our life, taking control of our reactions to life, our reactions to circumstances and so forth. And since it remains unseen or unacknowledged like that, we never really understand its mechanics. We can never really understand how it actually comes that our own mind can make us suffer so much. An example that comes to mind would be me going into my backyard and seeing a snake. However, I'm very scared, and so I don't really feel like approaching it, but something inside of me says, come on, take a few steps closer, have a look. So I go and I have a look, and the closer I get, the more I see that it might not actually be a snake. And as I take another step, I suddenly see, wow, it's just a garden hose. So with seeing that it's a garden hose and not really a snake, all the fear that I had before of the snake naturally falls away. It's kind of similar with most negative emotions and thoughts and so forth. They can stay alive, they can frighten us, they can scare us, because we don't really look at them. So as always, I'd like to have a look at what the Buddha said. And I found a few really helpful words, and they were mentioned in one of his discourses, namely the Anicca Sutta, and Anicca actually means impermanence. So this is the discourse on impermanence. And what he says is, the 3 kinds of feelings, O monks, are impermanent, compounded, dependently arisen, liable to destruction, to evanescence, to fading away, to cessation, namely pleasant feeling, painful feeling, and neutral feeling. So the Buddha mentions 3 types of feelings, and he also says that they share a common characteristic, namely the characteristic of impermanence. So he says that those feelings don't last. Now anxiety would be an unpleasant feeling. So he says that unpleasant feelings, they don't last, they're transient, they're impermanent. So how is that supposed to help us? Answer is very simple. If you really sit down and you start to become familiar with your anxiety, you really look at it, you'll start to understand it. And here you start to understand it in terms of its arising and its passing. Now when you see that often enough, many times in your practice, then you'll start to lose your fear, your resistance to anxiety. And with that, your anxiety has no more power over you, so its function cannot hold up. So the anxiety will fade, it will dissolve. Because anxiety lives from your resistance. So now you might wonder a little bit, how can I practice? How can I apply that in my daily life? And the answer is really simple. I give you 3 simple steps of how to practice with your anxiety. Now at first, before you even go into your anxiety or other negative emotions, I would suggest you to train yourself in physical awareness. So you need to become more aware of your body. Now this is pretty simple practice actually. It requires your intention and it requires quite a lot of consistency, and so you need to do this every day. Get into the habit of feeling the body when you walk, when you sit, when you stand somewhere, or when you lie down. Make it a point of actually practicing to simply just feel the body, and then slowly learn to let go of the commentary that you might have, all the verbalization and the chatter in your mind and so forth. I would actually recommend do this guided meditation that I mentioned in the link. So you get a bit more used to staying in the body, connecting to the body beyond thinking. Now once you get really good with this, you can then become more aware of positive emotions or negative emotions as they arise. So as you feel positive emotions, you also feel them in the body. Notice exactly where you feel them. And then just feel them. Become aware of the energetic buzz of an emotion, the life of the emotion inside of your body, without elaborating in any way by having a mental story, without feeding the emotion, just feel it. Now you do the same with negative emotions. So when you have a mild form of anxiety here and there, try to bring a bit more awareness into it, a bit more mindfulness, feeling the anxiety in your body. Where exactly do you feel it? Okay, so that's step number 1. Step number 2, you feel the anxiety or the negative emotion, whatever negative emotion it is, and then you connect with your breath to the emotion. So breathing in, you feel. Breathing out, try to relax the tension that has been built up around the emotion a little bit. See if you can do that. So breathing in, feeling the positive or negative emotion, and breathing out, relaxing the tension around the emotion. So you're in a resistance. I don't want to feel this. This kind of tension around the emotion, this is what we want to learn to soften up, to relax more and more. So you're actually able to give your emotions and your feelings a bit more space. And step 3, as you really look and you give a bit more space to your emotions, you will notice that the emotion becomes weaker, smaller, and a bit more airy, a bit more like wind or like a gas cloud or something like that. And then eventually it should fade. Now, if your emotion becomes stronger as a result of you looking at it, you can be sure that you're actually feeding it with some sort of story. There's some anxiety that is looking at anxiety that would feed anxiety. If you're looking at your anxiety with anxiety, then there's trouble. If you're looking at your anxiety with pure awareness, and that's why we need to train this body awareness at first, then it actually fades because you're not resisting it. As I mentioned before, what really feeds anxiety is you resisting your emotions. You're fighting yourself. You don't want to feel like this. You're not allowing to become more spacious. You're not hosting your feelings. You're contracting around them. This is the real problem. So here in these 3 steps, I repeat them. Number 1, train your body awareness. Number 2, connect your feelings with your breathing. Breathing in, feeling, breathing out, relaxing around your feeling, giving it more space. And number 3, notice the impermanence, the changing nature of the feeling until it actually dissolves in your spaciousness. So this is the way of how to practice with your anxiety. Now I want to add at this point that if you have a very severe case of anxiety or depression or something like this, it is definitely a very good idea to discuss this with your doctor first and to see whether there is something that needs to be done on that side first. There is some people who have such a severe case of depression or anxiety. If they would do this, then it would not really work out for them. But if you suffer from mild forms of depression or anxiety, which come about occasionally, then you can try to do this. However, also please, in the spiritual sense, it would be really important to do this under the guidance of a qualified spiritual guide. In a community in which you're practicing or with the help of your teacher. This is really, really important. If you are dealing with such kind of emotions and feelings, then it is always a good idea to do that under the guidance of someone who has experience with this practice. But if you already have a little bit of experience with meditation and you feel like you can look at your feelings without losing your own stability and so forth, then I do recommend to try out and see if you can give a bit more space to your feelings, a bit more relaxation around your feelings, a bit more softness, and see how that works out for you. So in short, it is all about receiving your feelings with a friendly, warm, kind attitude, giving them space to be, and not resisting them, fighting them, or being here for your feelings as a bully. So you're here as a friend. That's the whole point of this video. So this concludes another one of our little episodes. I hope it was helpful and useful for you guys. As always, I would encourage you to ask questions. You can ask your questions down below in the comments. You can connect with us on Facebook. You can write me an email. My email address is right here. And if you have any more questions or any input, please just don't hesitate. Let me know right away. As you know, these videos, they are motivated by your questions. They come from you guys. These are the questions that are received the most in our classes here in the retreats in Phuket, as well as in the open free public classes that we have every week. By the way, I would like to mention also that you can listen to much of the teachings online on SoundCloud. We have a little collection of our teachings on SoundCloud. The link is also mentioned in this video right next to me here. If you want to know anything about this, just hit me up, write me anything in the comments. So this concludes this week's video, and I'm really looking forward to next week. I wish you a great time and enjoy your practice. Bye-bye.